Ooh. So could mean that guys like Lawrence Okoli, and especially if it's your right eye, if Jake's getting hit in his right eye, that usually would mean that he's getting jabbed, because that jab in orthodox would come out from the left hand on the right eye side.
And that experience would have been somewhat of a dawn of realization upon Jake Paul that this is actually happening now. So to an extent, I'll be honest, I actually feel sorry for Jake.
Reports say Jake Paul got knocked out by a heavyweight sparring partner while preparing for his fight against Anthony Joshua. He later appeared with a swollen, bruised eye and explained that the injury occurred during a sparring session with Lawrence Okoli.
Keep it going. Way too long. There you go. Good round, Jake. Check that.
Joey Knight shared that Jake Paul was training with top heavyweight fighters like Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez, and Jared Anderson. During these tough sessions, Paul showed obvious injuries, showing just how intense the sparring was. Knight described it as the hardest week of Paul's career and said the skill and power of his partners caused significant damage. The bruises and marks after training highlighted how demanding it is to get ready for a fighter like Anthony Joshua. According to Knight, these challenges are bigger than anything Paul has faced before, because even controlled sparring with elite heavyweights can cause real harm and push him to his limits in the ring.
Ranked Lawrence Okoli. That is who Jake Paul has been sparring with over these past few weeks.
In trouble finding Hussein Mohammed early on.
And a lot of you guys will know this because Jake Paul showed the bruises and marks on his face and said that it was Lawrence Okoli that had done that. And faces don't necessarily tell you how a spar went. Some guy can have blood all over him, he can have a busted up nose, but he still won the rounds in sparring. But I can only imagine that this week has been a very, very humbling experience for Jake Paul. In fact, the past few weeks will have been eye-opening for Jake Paul. A past few weeks where he has sparred the likes of Lawrence Okoli, of Jared Anderson, and of Frank Sanchez as well. And being that I have seen Jake Paul go life and death with Tommy Fury, you can guarantee you that Okoli, that Anderson, and that Frank Sanchez have basically manhandled Jake Paul in there. And that experience would have been somewhat of a dawn of realization upon Jake Paul that this is actually happening now. So to an extent, I'll be honest, I actually feel sorry for Jake Paul. I mean, I don't, because then I remember the 70-odd million that he's reported to be earning at the end of this fight. But you can't deny, right, that in a world where these almost fantasy fights and whatnot are making such a shitload of cash, that Jake Paul's probably being paid in line for this fight, actually. And the reason I say he's being paid in line is because I really don't think it takes a genius to work out where I'm going with my prediction for this fight. And that is obviously, no, in fact, drum roll, please. AJ via knockout, obviously, technical knockout, if Jake gets...
Jake Paul's decision to spar with top heavyweight fighters has drawn major attention from boxing fans and experts. Although he is known for taking on big names, his preparation for a fight with Anthony Joshua has highlighted just how tough this challenge is. Training footage shows Paul facing overwhelming power from his heavyweight partners, revealing weaknesses not seen in his previous fights. Wade, a well-known boxing analyst, says these sessions expose a real vulnerability. Reports say Paul was even knocked out during training, suggesting he struggles against the strength and punching power of experienced heavyweights. This has raised questions about whether Paul's confidence truly matches his readiness to face a former heavyweight champion like Joshua.
Question is, which one of those two things is happening? And question is, how is it going down? Because what we know about Anthony Joshua is that he has a nasty lead hook, and he's going to have a reach advantage on Jake, just like Lawrence Okoli does in the gym, which is why Jake has brought him in. So that jab's going to be effective. That lead hand of AJ is going to be effective. How does Jake maneuver around that? And again, you can look at this a couple of ways. One, okay, you get hit with it in camp, so you don't get hit with it in the fight, which is why you bring these heavyweights in. It's why you bring Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez in. Or two, there's a massive flaw in what Jake's doing, that he's continually getting hit with this, and the indication that he's getting hit by Okoli means he's going to get hit the same way with Anthony Joshua. I tend to believe a little bit of both, right? You do this so that it doesn't happen, but also how much can Jake really learn and to avoid something that's coming out with the jab or with the lead hook, or just again the distance control and the range of a guy like Okoli especially in a guy like AJ.
Footage of Paul sparring shows he has taken multiple hits to the chin from heavyweights, and visible marks reveal the physical toll of these sessions. Training with fighters like Lawrence Okolie is far more intense than anything he has faced before. Observers note that the combination of power, size, and skill in these partners is testing the limits of Paul's defense and toughness.
4'6'5". He isn't 250 pounds. He's not a natural heavyweight. And you could say that's an advantage to Jake. He's going to be able to move around a little bit. Again, we'll talk about his feet in a second. But it's more to me the fact that what we're not seeing is the biggest weakness of Jake's, on top of the fact that he's gotten an eye smashed up in sparring. They said Frank Sanchez made his nose look like a crescent moon. We'll get to that in a second. Lawrence Okolie is giving him a freaking shiner in sparring. So again, you could say that's great work from Jake to be able to have these high-level guys come in, but you also have to admit that he's getting hit, and he's getting hit a lot by guys that aren't Anthony Joshua in terms of their skill and ability, or at least not at the highest level that AJ has been to. So,
but we brought in world champion heavyweight sparring partners, guys who are 270 pounds, 250 pounds, sparring them, has been insane. I still got the remnants of
I see you taking a little shot there. I like that you're taking those shots.
Castillo, a respected analyst, says that facing Joshua in the ring would be extremely tough for Paul. He believes that even after intense sparring, Paul has little chance of handling Joshua's knockout power. Castillo adds that if Paul can last even 3 rounds, it would already be a big achievement. The point is clear. Training with heavyweights can give experience, but cannot fully prepare someone for the non-stop pressure, sharp skill, and raw power of a top-level former champion. The gap between influencer boxing matchups and a true world-class heavyweight fight is very large.
I think, honestly speaking, if Jake can last 3 rounds, in a way he's kind of won a mental victory, because I'll be real, I think everybody's expecting AJ to come there and blast them out in 1 round, but I think a moral victory would be if Jake just lands 1 stun punch on him. That'd be good enough for him. But kudos to Jake Paul for even doing this, because honestly speaking, I'm not gonna lie to you, one of the greatest moments that I've witnessed in boxing history, and I know Jake Paul is obviously an influencer, and I'm a boxing fan. I love boxing. So this is a bit weird to say that this is quite a huge moment, but just when he came out last year, and he came out of his brother, and he came out on a little rider, I got goosebumps, because in that moment I said to myself, how can anybody watch this and not feel like dreams can't come true? He must even surprise himself looking at that and think to himself, how on earth am I even here fighting Mike Tyson? And one more thing, even with speaking of that, I give him a lot of respect for not knocking out Mike Tyson, because he could have. And so I respect him for that. So against AJ, and for AJ as well, AJ gets a lot of flack, but at the same time, I think AJ's he's about 35, 36, 37 right now. He doesn't really have anything else to prove right now, so why not cash out with a big fight?
Simon Jordan and the Talk Sport host discuss Joshua's one-punch knockout power and how it greatly raises the risk for Paul. As the fight approaches, it is being seen less as an exhibition and more as a genuinely dangerous matchup. Analysts emphasize that Joshua's ability to end a fight with a single punch is real and proven. This comes from his experience as a heavyweight champion with precise timing, strong technique, and explosive power. Every sparring session Paul does with heavyweights is meant to prepare him for these high-risk moments in the ring. Still, even experienced observers agree that training in controlled settings is very different from facing the full force of a professional heavyweight champion in an actual fight.
And having Anthony Joshua in front of you, I really hope it doesn't go to that end, but it's a very, very dangerous fight.
You actually just said that if the fight goes ahead, do you believe then that this fight won't go ahead? Because there's many people that do.
I mean, I think it goes ahead, but I mean, I don't know what Jake Paul is thinking, to be honest, because you're talking about someone that is 2 times heavyweight champion of the world. He's someone that actually have got a one-punch knockout power. He understands range, he understands positioning, he understands how to set you up. He's a bigger man, he's a stronger man. I don't know where, for me, yes, I'm thinking the worst, but I want to be positive, and I really hope that both of them goes home safe with plenty of money. But looking statistically and the professionalism of the sport, I don't see the fight going past 2 rounds.
Well, interestingly, when we're recording this show, it's been announced, and it'll come after, our show will come out afterwards, that Jake Paul is doing an announcement this afternoon at, I think, something like 2 o'clock our time. So who knows what that's likely to be. Interestingly, I spoke to Eddie Hearn when the fight was first announced to try and get the take of what this really was. And his belief, Eddie's belief, and whether you subscribe to Eddie's views on this, is that he genuinely believes that Jake Paul doesn't know what he's walking into, doesn't seem to have a regard for what he's walking into, is slightly deluded about it, thinks that Anthony's a bit chinny, and thinks he has a chance in this fight. Now, I don't know about you boys, but unless you've lived under a stone, you know that Anthony Joshua can punch. The only debate about Anthony Joshua is not the physicality of Anthony Joshua, is the psychology of him. There's going to be no psychological damage to Anthony Joshua when he walks in against Jake Paul. This has jeopardy written all over it, doesn't it?
I think from Jake Paul's side, I think
For Jake Paul, physically.
Yeah, I think that Jake Paul, though, is actually deluded enough to believe that if he gets inside, that he's got.
Is he?
He must be, Simon. Otherwise, the fight wouldn't be going ahead. He truly believes that.
David Hay gives insight into Paul's mindset, suggesting the influencer might believe he can use the same tactics that worked in previous fights. Hay points out that betting on Paul to win would require imagining very unlikely scenarios where differences in skill are ignored. Analysts see Paul's decision to spar with heavyweights as both bold and risky. These sessions can help him handle power and build stamina, but also highlight the gap between training and real competition. When Paul finally steps into the ring with Joshua, he will face challenges that no amount of sparring can fully prepare him for.
That was possible, but it is, and it's happening. And my initial thoughts were, Anthony's just going to blast him out as soon as he hits him. He's going to just punch his head in and knock him out. That was my initial thoughts.
See what I was sitting ringside when Anthony Joshua annihilated Francis Ngannou. Now Ngannou's not a boxer, but he is a fighter. He's a big lump. He knows what it takes to take punches.
He was a lot more than that going into the fight with Anthony Joshua. He'd just beaten, on my opinion, and knocked down Tyson Fury, who was the champion at the time. So I don't think that fight is a close representation of what Jake Paul brings to the table, because Anthony Joshua was going into that fight against someone who looked like they just beat Tyson Fury. So although on paper Ngannou didn't have any credentials in boxing, he had the physicality, the size, the strength, and all of that cage fighting background to somehow put together an amazing 10 rounds with Tyson Fury and lose a close fight. So Anthony Joshua went into the Ngannou fight on his best form. He went into there with that fear factor where he didn't want the performance Tyson Fury had. He wanted to really impress. So he obviously tuned right in for that fight, and the results were clear to see. Is Anthony Joshua going to go into this fight with Jake Paul with the same mindset after seeing him beat on points a 58-year-old Mike Tyson? My opinion is no. I think he feels zero fear in this fight. He's in a unique situation where he's going into a boxing ring with someone he doesn't believe.
Boxing is not just about taking single punches, but also about responding wisely under constant pressure. Each sparring session with a heavyweight is designed to boost confidence, timing, and reflexes. Still, the raw power of a fighter like Joshua creates risks far beyond anything Paul has faced before.
You're getting a lot of money to be there, and it's easy work. But what is in that for Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson?
Easy money. I don't know how much he'll be paying sparring partners. I assume to get those caliber of sparring partners in, it's got to be big money.
Lawrence Okoli's got a fight coming up. If you're Joe Gallagher, are you go spar Jake Paul? Is that going to help you?
No, absolutely not. Are you going to get a bit of profile from it, perhaps? People are going to hear your name. Yeah. Does that help? I remember going to spar with Kessler. I got £500 or euros for the week. It was the hardest money I've ever earned in my life.
How much did you learn from?
Yeah, me, bundles.
Yeah. What's Okoli learn? I don't get it.
No.
I do get it, the money. But when you got a fight coming up, I'm thinking, really? Are you going to get anything out of that sparring that's going to help you in your fight? Maybe you are. Maybe I'm just completely diminishing Jake Paul's ability, but I'm struggling. I I really am.
Fair play to Jake Paul. I mean...
And you're right, there's a bit of a conflict there because Joshua used to manage him.
Yeah, it was through 258, right?
Yeah. But surely they're smashing him to pieces. Surely Jake's going, oh, what the fuck? This is fucking horrible.
Every single one of those 3 fighters there could annihilate him in a round.
Yeah, so are they not?
Stay tuned for the latest in boxing, including news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Knockout Punch and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos. Until next time, take care and stay safe.